PlayStation. You know, I'm going to make a lot of people mad in this video, and that's fine. I've always been very vocal on this channel that I'm going to speak my opinions. I don't care who it upsets. I don't make these videos for an individual one person. I make these videos to vibe with people, man. If you guys didn't like my video, maybe you'll like the next one if you didn't. But I'm sitting here looking at the trajectory and what PlayStation has done this generation. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I personally feel like they have coasted this whole generation, doing the least they possibly can do, was still maintaining the momentum that they had from the PlayStation 4 generation. You know, I personally feel like Jim Ryan is their Don Matrick. Maybe not to the degree, and maybe it's not apples to apples, but I do feel like there's a similar type of experience going on here. You know, Don Matrick did a lot of damage to the Xbox brand, more than people think. But Jim Ryan, to me, the outside looking in, keep in mind, I don't know anything behind closed doors, but to me, when I see Jim Ryan, I see him doing the absolute most that he feels is going to generate the money. Didn't matter on what games they were making or how the perception was going to be. They're doing the absolute least they can put out, input out, and try to get the most. Now, obviously, that's how businesses ran for the most part, but there's a good way of doing things and there's a bad way of doing things. You know, Jim Ryan looked at something like games as a service and said, you know what, we're going all in. And he had a lot of his studios, if not all of them, all working on some form of a games as a service. And I feel like all of that time has dramatically hurt PlayStation from making any big moves today. Let's talk about the PlayStation of the past, the PS4 generation, the majority of the PS3 generation. I remember a time where PlayStation had no problem coming out there and announcing games 3 years into the future, 4 years into the future. They didn't care because they knew these games were going to be quality and they knew these games was going to give them a really good perspective in the industry. That's not necessarily the case anymore. You know, it really feels like they only really announce like games as a service games right now, remakes. You know, right now we're going to talk about the Horizon Zero Dawn. And that's what kind of like triggered this video for the most part. Horizon Zero Dawn has been rated for the PlayStation 5 and the PC. And I would say this game's going to come out here relatively soon. You know, PlayStation just doesn't do what they used to. I feel like maybe that is a combination of they no longer have to compete on a level that they felt like they had to during the PS3 generation. There's a lot of factors that goes into it. But one thing I will say is, like, we need the old PlayStation back. The PlayStation that would do showcases. Keep in mind, how many years has it been since we got a PlayStation showcase? Since we've seen games that everyone is going to collaborate towards, go straight to Twitter, tweet, make YouTube videos. We don't get those often. Do we get state of plays? Yes. But I would say that the state of plays aren't really what the majority of the PlayStation fans are looking for. You know, am I a PlayStation fanboy? No. I am a PlayStation fan. I just beat Astrobot. I beat God of War Ragnarok. I beat 2018 God of War. I beat Last of Us Part 1 and 2. I have played these games. I enjoy these games. So when I sit here and I go to like a state of play or a showcase, which we haven't had, I'm expecting a quality from PlayStation that I have gotten from them from years. And to these days, it just doesn't happen. You know, are their years bad? No, because they do make good decisions in terms of who they're going to partner with. They're like, okay, our first party's not going to be ready right now, so what are we going to do? We're going to go get Stellar Blade. We're going to go get Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 in Rebirth. We are going to captivate by getting these timed exclusive games. Now, we can debate whether or not Black Wukong had some form of exclusivity on it. Do I think PlayStation went over there and said, don't put this on Xbox? No. But I do think PlayStation went over there and said, look, you got a lot of stress going on yourself. You got a lot of stuff going on. How about we help you, maybe slide you some money for this marketing, and you just take your time. You know, right now you really should just be working on one platform. The game doesn't necessarily run the greatest. I do think after seeing how bad the game ran on PlayStation, They shouldn't have done that. But once again, that's another example of PlayStation not caring about the quality of games that they give their consumer. Look, 2024, you could argue PlayStation's had one of the better years they've had. They've had Black Wukong, even though that's not, a timed exclusive. It is an exclusive to the PlayStation console in a console market right now. You look at something like Helldivers. Helldivers 2 has been so momentum that you can say that's a big W. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Stellar Blade. These are games that's really blowing people's socks off. But almost none of these games are made by PlayStation Studio. And that's the part where I'm just like scratching my head. Like, I understand if these games aren't ready. I understand if Jim Ryan, derailed the history and the future of PlayStation to the point where it's going to take them a couple years to recover, because when you have all these studios making these games as a service for years at this point, and then they just all get canceled for the most part, and then they have to pivot on a new IP. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure a lot of these studios were simultaneously working on 2 games at the same time, maybe even 3. But we've seen throughout time that regardless how many people they have, when you start dividing your resources at a studio amongst 1 project to 2 projects, it does slow both of those projects down. And we're not even talking about getting games out the gate. Something like a Final Fantasy VII remake Rebirth, or, Astrobot needed to get out the gate. I'm sure even God of War Ragnarok, they contacted some of their other studios to be like, we need all hands on deck. Whoever is able to give an assistance, give them assistance, because we need this game out sooner rather than later. The biggest thing is just like, if they had no problem in the past just coming out there, putting a logo on the screen, just do it. I want to see Ghost of Tsushima 2. Now, do I think that game's coming out? Yes. But it's gotten to the point, man, where we're coming to the close of 2024, still no showcase. 2023, no showcase. The last showcase we had wasn't even that good either. It was a very underwhelming showcase. We have mad remakes on PlayStation. We had the Horizon Zero Dawn remake. We are also, well, that's technically a remaster. I don't know how they're considering it. The Until Dawn remake. There's so many remakes that they are throwing out there, or remasters, however you want to play it. And look, I'm not sitting there saying that these companies shouldn't pursue a remaster. All I'm saying is these games didn't come out that long ago. To me, and I'm very curious to hear what your guys' opinion on in the comment section below. When do you think enough time has went by to justify going back and putting new paint on a game? To me, at least a generation, at least. And I'm talking like the beginning of the PlayStation 4 generation. I'm not talking about like the end of a generation. Like right now we're in the PlayStation 5 generation. So if they're going back to maybe the end of the PS3, beginning of the PS4 generation, I could see that. But Horizon Zero Dawn has had a complete edition. Horizon Zero Dawn came out in 2017. That's not that long ago. Forbidden West still was released. And that's another thing. Do we need remakes or remasters of games that came out in 2017 when their successor's already out? The resources could go somewhere else, and that doesn't necessarily mean that just because these games were being developed that there's nothing else being developed with the game. I'm sure they are working on it. But like I said, when you have a studio, and I'm not even sure if Guerrilla Games is making this game, this remaster, but when you have resources being split, regardless if it's not this studio or not, because I'm assuming the money that would normally go towards Guerrilla Games to some degree is going towards another studio, or Guerrilla Games is splitting off into making 2 different projects. I don't know. Games as a service, I do truly believe it crippled PlayStation to some degree. Will we never know to what degree? Probably not. I think they'll keep that very close to the chest. But I'm sitting here looking at this stuff. I'm like, come on, guys. We got to be honest here. I'm honest with Xbox all the time. I come on this channel, I come on this camera, and I criticize Xbox to the point where I'm considered a pony bot. I've been summoned to Xbox court, all kinds of stuff. But we got to keep it real with PlayStation. They have done nothing this generation but coast. Now, does that mean that they've had bad years? No. Because I would say that because of the deals they have made, they have done decent. But I can't act like last generation, it hit different to me. And maybe it's because a lot of these games that we're getting in 2024 when it comes to the PlayStation 5 were just sequels from the PlayStation 4. So realistically, they've already done what they're showing us. So I would say, even though Ragnarok was a good game, I like 2018 more. There are aspects of Ragnarok I like more than 2018, but I liked 2018 more. Forza, Horizon Forbidden West. I didn't like those games anyway, but from what I have seen, a lot of people liked Horizon Zero Dawn more. Then there were some people that saying that Horizon Forbidden West was literally everything Zero Dawn did, but better. So it should have been around the same quality of a game. I think at this point, man, when we've seen games like Twisted Metal get canned, we see games like the Spider-Man game, the multiplayer get canned, factions get canned, but Concord still gets approved. I think if you're a PlayStation hardcore fan and you went this much time without seeing a showcase or seeing a good roadmap of PlayStation, and you're kind of like not necessarily worried, but scratching your head, I don't blame you. And I think for the most part, everyone should feel this way. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think PlayStation's been coasting this generation? Like I said, doesn't mean they haven't had bad years, guys. It just means that in terms of what their actual studios produce, it is weird that we're not even necessarily seeing release dates or released games. We're not even seeing announcements. And this is one of the first times I've seen from a long time where we're not even seeing announcements. Like I said, PlayStation used to have no problem just coming out there and saying, yo, it's coming out in 5 years, but there it is. And then we start seeing more and more of these games, and they start really blowing up anticipations for it. They get the perception going. They get the hype going. We're not really seeing that PlayStation. Maybe it's the change of leadership. I don't know. But put in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel for weekly content. We make content over here just about every day. Also, follow me on Twitter, Lord Addict IOP. You can also follow Addict Arena, where we talk about daily gaming. We play games with the community. We just chill it up over there, man. All that's in the description below. And I hope you guys have a nice day. Peace. Woo, man. I hope there's some good news about Xbox or PlayStation here soon, because it is getting pretty toxic, man. Pretty negative. See ya.